Just a moment. Hey, you are live.
Good evening. The time to which the May 7th Board of Appeals meeting was recessed having arrived, the meeting will reconvene and come to order. Welcome to the City of Annapolis Board of Appeals special virtual meeting for May 22nd, 2024. This meeting is being broadcast on the City of Annapolis YouTube channel. The agenda for tonight's meeting may be found on the City of Annapolis website. The agenda contains the links to the City of Annapolis YouTube channel. The matters before the board tonight have received their public hearing, and the record has been closed on these matters. Tonight, all the exhibits have been entered into the record and have been submitted and marked accordingly. Tonight, the board will be considering the items from May 7th, deliberate and render a decision on those items. Ms. Consoli, our board secretary, will call the roll.
Mr. Gallagher,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Dr. Chen,
Present.
Mr. Hector, I don't believe is present, and Mr. Zazali. Mr. Chairman, we currently have 3 members present.
Thank you, Kim. Mr. Gallagher, would you like to?
Yes. As you know, I wasn't present for the meeting on May 7th, but pursuant to the board's rules, I've carefully reviewed the video of the proceedings before the board on the 7th, and I'm fully prepared to participate in the deliberations tonight with the chair's permission.
I'm satisfied that Mr. Gallagher has diligently looked at the previous record and can render a decision accordingly, and we'll proceed. There is no new business. We're dealing with unfinished business from the previous May 7th meeting. And so we will begin with the first matter of that is on our agenda, variance 2024-0004.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Do
Ms.
we
Chen.
need to approve the minutes?
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a question I had too, but we have the minutes, why not approve them, right? So we do have minutes that were published and sent to the board. Are there any comments or additions to the minutes of the May 7th meeting?
It looked good to me, and make a motion to approve the minutes for May 7th.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Aye.
And the meeting minutes are adopted. So the first matter to take up is variance 2024-0004, variance application by Max Williams and Tori Thornton, property owners, for both a 6-foot reduction to the 6-foot side yard setback left and a 6-foot side yard reduction right in order to allow construction of a new single-family dwelling at property located at 416 Chesapeake Avenue. Okay, well, we did hear the matter, so who would like to start?
I defer to anyone who was there, but I'm happy to.
Okay.
I can start. I think that this variance is appropriate. There was a building that was deteriorated and has since been brought down. I understand that the footprint of this new house is similar, if not exactly the same as the house that was there. It is a very, very narrow lot. So I would like to vote to approve this variance.
Thank you, Dr. Chen.
Having reviewed the video and the evidence, I agree with Dr. Chen, and I would make a motion to approve the variance based on the facts set forth in the application, for the reasons set forth in the staff recommendation and supported by the evidence you all heard at the hearings. I think the criteria for a variance have been satisfied, so I'd move to approve.
Okay, I can't add to the comments that previously made, certainly by my colleague, Dr. Chen, and would agree. And the motion's been put forward by Mr. Gallagher. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Dr. Chen. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The variance 2024-0004 is approved. The second matter is special exception 2024-00002, special exception application by Helen Templeton, property owner, to allow retail sales of non-maritime related goods use in a waterfront maritime zoning district on the property located at 222 Severn Avenue, Unit A. Again, we heard the testimony from Ms. Templeton, and also we received testimony from positive, favorable testimony from other parties. Again, I open this to comment and deliberation.
I'm looking forward to learning what mid-century furniture is. I wish it was maritime mid-century furniture, but the application clearly is within the rules, so I would be in favor.
I concur with that on all points.
I think it's antique, Bob.
Okay, well, that means I'm antique.
Mid-century? No.
Yeah,
no,
me
no,
too.
No, me too. Me too. Okay. Dr. Chen, any comments?
No, and I would like to move for the approval of special exception 2024-0002 based on the evidence in the staff report as well as any testimony provided in our last meeting.
I'd second the motion.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the special exception. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the special exception is approved. The next matter is variance 2023-00019, the variance application by Jose Serrano and Maria Pineda, property owners, for a 6-foot reduction to the 15-foot corner side yard setback requirement in order to allow the construction of a 1.5-foot by 16-foot single-story addition to the side of the existing house located at 11, if I say this correctly, Gilmer Street. Again, we received testimony from the applicant and from, I believe, his contractor, and we received many communications from Alderwoman Pendel Charles, which are in the record. And before I open up the deliberations, I see that the Alderwoman is with us, and would invite her if she has some comments as a courtesy, if she'd like to add comments to what she's already submitted.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and members of the Board of Appeals. I appreciate the opportunity. I don't have anything to add at this time, except to have those emails that I submitted, of course, have been already incorporated into the testimony in this case as well. But that will be it. But I'm anxious to hear from the persons who have filed this appeal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderwoman Pendel Charles. Okay, so open it up to deliberations. Anybody want to give it a try? Or
I have really mixed views on this. I take to heart the issues raised by Alderwoman Pendel Charles on her own behalf and on behalf of the neighbors. And I know that she understands. I believe the Alderwoman is a lawyer herself. That we're constrained by the rules that she and her colleagues at the council have given us, and a number of the issues raised there by the neighbors fall outside of those considerations. The others, I think, have been pretty well addressed. Most of the others by discussions the applicant had with the city. The other thing that really concerns me about this is, if I understood the record correctly, the applicant is a state licensed building contractor. And if I understood the evidence correctly, they began this project without a required permit. Now, I understand that the advocate for the applicant indicated that there might be some language problems, but I think it's incumbent on a licensed contractor to know what the rules are when they start work on a project. And if it's a failure on the part of the state to make those rules available in more accessible language, I don't know what we can do about that, but they certainly should be aware of those rules. And when they start a project in violation of those rules, I would take it very seriously. It's not clear to me that the board has the authority to deny a variance based on the fact that the applicant had previously violated the permit rules. And the fact that the applicant apparently has worked out to the satisfaction of the planning and zoning department a resolution of that apparent violation carries some weight with me. So I'd like to hear from my colleagues, but with those issues in mind, I think generally that the criteria for a variance that we have to work with have been pretty well satisfied.
I would say, first of all, I'd like to thank Alderwoman Pindell Charles for her comments. And, oh, I'm sorry. That's me. Sorry. And based upon those comments, I did ask some questions during the last meeting, one of which was, what was the intended use of the building once finished? And the applicant was unable to assure me that it wasn't an investment that's going to be flipped and sold. So that raised concerns for me with regard to the financial gain requirement. But also what caught my attention was that the need for the variance, and please correct me if I'm wrong, fellow board members, but there wasn't, it was like an inch. Am I right? It wasn't a large amount of area that was needed for the variance. So I found myself thinking, well, you know, with this problem with the financial gain and the small amount of area, why can't the contractor, builder, applicant simply revise the building and not require a variance? So those are my two main thoughts that give me pause as to approving this application.
Mr. Chairman, I wonder if Mr. Meekins could.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Geller. Yeah, but Mike, if you would just give us, since you presented the case, just review for us what the Dr. Chen's, my recollection was 1.5 feet. As I recall, it was making the building evening out one side and make it a rectangle in total.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, board members and Alderwoman Pindell Charles. The request for the variance essentially is 1.5 feet with relief in the corner side yard setback. And Mr. Walsh stated correctly that basically would be in line with the existing footprint of what is already there. It would basically just straighten out that plane of the house. Additionally, on the opposite side, they would be doing the same thing. But that proposal does not require a variance because they're within or they're outside of their setback. So again, a 1.5 to make it uniformly square is essentially what the variance is asking for.
And so to me, that doesn't seem like a lot. And if the modification just can be made so that the variance is not needed, just something to consider.
Yeah, and I cannot speak to the end goal of this. It does seem like a lot of monies and time and expenditure to go through the process for that 1.5 and ultimately a 3-foot addition. Again, that opposite 1.5 feet is not part of the variance ask. So I would defer to either the owner or the contractor if you see fit that maybe they could answer that question a little bit better than I can.
As I recall, Mr. Serrano was represented by his contractor at the hearing. Mike?
Oh, yes, that
That's
is correct. And his name, the gentleman's name is Ken Parsons.
I see. Mr. Parsons, for the sake of, we don't open the record, but for the sake of clarification, I'll allow you to answer that question about that Dr. Chen has raised.
All right, I'm sorry, I came in late. I had problems signing on here. So I'm kind of catching up where everything is. The variance originally was because a couple of things. The property isn't large enough, according to the city, for the house. That's number one. Then we also have, as Mr. Meekins has pointed out, too close on one side. The original design, or when they put the numbers of street numbers on the house, they turned it to a different way. So we actually, that's where all the specifics come out instead of just being a one piece. I agree. We're looking at 16 inches that is causing this major problem. I don't understand it. I'm actually, Arturo is actually a contractor. He is a licensed contractor. I'm actually an ex-builder that's been in the business for quite a few years, and I help people with variances and help them with permits and that kind of stuff, do all the drawings. I didn't draw on this one. So I'm sorry, like I said, I missed part of it. I'm not sure exactly what I'm answering.
Dr. Chen, would you like to restate it?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
If you'd like to restate it, go ahead. Your question.
I was simply raising food for thought in terms of the requirements under the code and the need that the variance is not needed purely for financial gain. And since the applicant couldn't assure me in the last meeting that that was not the case, my question was, since it's not a large adjustment to the area of the structure, if the plan couldn't simply just be modified.
We looked to try to get that done. Essentially, there's a specific rule, and the person that called it out basically said, I have to follow the rules. Okay, and we are literally within a very small amount of square footage, that the lot wasn't big enough. And it was closer on the sides, and partially because the house is actually sitting on the lot, which you or I would say the front of the house is on the other side, but that's not the way it was set up originally when the house was put in there. There is very minor addition here. they're really, technically anything that's done to a house has to have a permit. Okay, so he went ahead and applied for the permit. There shouldn't have been any problems with it, but he went ahead and started forward because he assumed that there wouldn't be a problem for that 16 inches. Why it was, we haven't really got a straight answer out of it. I'm hearing all kinds of things like, well, the street is already crowded and whatever. It's, I'm not sure where that even comes from. Okay, whether the street is crowded already with people on there.
Well, I tell you, if you could, Mr. Parsons, we're starting to get into area that wasn't specific to Dr. Chen's. But my purpose was to have you answer the question, not to
All right,
go
I'm sorry.
apart from that. Yeah. Any other questions, Dr. Chen?
No,
Mr. Gallagher? While we have them.
After hearing Dr. Chen, not exclusively for the game, it does sound like something that's worth considering.
Yeah, as I'm recalling from 2 weeks ago, my recollection was that the applicant stated that when he started doing the work and applied initially for the building permit, that it was taking so long that he was not able to live in the home. I didn't find that necessarily, that didn't hit me right. And I think not based exclusively upon a desire to increase financial gain is something that does kind of speak to me on this as well. Everything else, it certainly meets all the other criteria in my mind for the granting of a variance. But
Michael, if I may, let me ask Mike Meekins. Is it correct that if we fail to approve the variance, that the applicant will be able to proceed with rebuilding without those 16 inches?
So the short answer is as long as they go through the permit process and get those approvals from the city, yes. There's a gray area that concerns me, or that I cannot answer, and that's in regard to if there's some sort of building code that, for whatever reason, they when they applied, that would require them to enlarge the structure. Again, I off the top of my head, I don't see how that would apply, but I do not have, I'm not a building architectural plan reviewer.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yes, may I speak?
I believe, Bob, that from the testimony that we heard earlier in the month, that the desire was to square off the building.
Right.
There was several repeated comments that the
Yes.
applicant desires to have an even shaped building.
Right.
And
And if it's for flipping in the market, I'd understand that. But
yeah,
I guess it's for saying it's flipping between us and.
I'm not sure that this is
No,
he's invited to the deliberation.
No, he's not. In fact, I would ask Mark if you could just mute Mr. Parsons. We'd invited him to answer those questions specifically. And thank you for doing that. So deliberations, continuing. My view, I think I'm sensing from my colleagues that there's some concern, and I'm feeling it too, about the issue of this is just going to be a matter of squaring off the building and financial gain. I would have felt more comfortable if there were a clear answer that this is going to be something that the applicant himself is going to be living in after making the renovations. So that's where I am.
Well, I
Well-
guess I'm not prepared to make a motion to approve.
Okay,
If one of you
Dr.
does,
Chen?
I'll vote on it, but
Well, since I'm the one who raised this concern, I am not prepared to make a motion to approve.
Okay, well, there's no motion to approve, so the matter is not approved. I would strongly suggest that the applicant meet with the city again to try to clarify that this is not going to be used for financial gain and provide us with testimony and some evidence that would indicate that,
yeah,
as well as,
they'd have to reapply after a
yeah, they will
required
reply.
timeout.
Exactly. So the matter is not approved.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you to all the parties who were part of that deliberation that are watching. So that matter has been dispensed with. The final matter of the evening is, just getting back on my laptop here. Variance 2024, variance application by Gailey Jones, property owner, for the reduction to the required lot area of 5,400 square feet to 5,366 square feet, less 34 square feet, to allow construction of a motor vehicle storage lot on property located on 7 Lee Street. Again, we received testimony from the applicant and I believe her architect, and if I'm not mistaken, well, open it to deliberation.
I don't have any comments.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gallagher?
I don't either. I thought that the applicant did a good job and that the staff recommendation report was clear. It looked to me like they met the criteria.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. I think it's consistent with what's in that area. So based on the evidence, I too would agree with granting this variance. So I'd be willing to entertain a motion.
I will make the motion to approve variance 2024-00003 based upon the evidence in the staff report and the testimony given to this board.
I'd second that motion.
Good. Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the variance application. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the variance 2024-00003 has been approved. Are there any other, well, there's no other matters on the agenda and there's no new business, so unless we have something else to talk about.
Motion
Thank
to
you.
adjourn.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you,
you're welcome.
Alderman.
Thank you, Alderwoman. The motion's been made. Actually,
Second.
doesn't even, okay, we'll take the second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Those opposed.